So this class is about the botany, introduction to botany. So the botany is otherwise known as a plant science. The term we can easily understand. It is also known by another name called phytology. So phyto means plants and logy means study. So it is about the study of plants. But simply we cannot say study of plants when we say it is the study of origin of a particular plant and the diversity among the group of plants like algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms, and angiosperms, and also the study of their structure, their morphological features, and then the classification. How can we classify the various group of plants? Then the mode of nutrition, whether it is autotrophic or heterotrophic mode of nutrition, then reproduction, whether it may be a vegetative or sexual reproduction or asexual reproduction, as well as the internal processes like photosynthesis, transpiration, respiration, vernalization, and so on. So it is not only of all these and also to study about how the plants are related with other animals, the animals which are in their surroundings, and also the microorganisms, both the beneficial as well as the harmful microorganisms, and also with their non-living physicochemical environments. Say, for example, how the light play an important role in uh, their growth and development. Then, in what way the water is very much related to their growth and development, and is there any chemical, that is, the elements which are present in the soil, how they help in the growth and development of plants. So botany is a complex subject. It is the study of all of these. So their structure, classification, nutrition, reproduction, and also the various internal processes. Okay. So before going into detail about the botany, some basic points about what are atoms, then molecules, compounds, and macromolecules. Because the atom, as we know very well, they are the smallest particle of an element. Say, for example, we know there are micro elements and macro elements. Say, for example, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen are very much essential in the construction of an organic compound. But anyway, the atom is the smallest particle that cannot be further divided. And we know very well each and every atom is made up of a central nucleus surrounded by the electron. Okay. Then what about the molecules? So when we say molecules, they are the simplest unit of a chemical compound, having two or more atoms held together by chemical bonds. So for example, when we say oxygen, we used to say O2, that means a dioxygen. So it is a molecule. It is made up of a chemical compound. It has two elements. I mean, the two atoms are present in a hydrogen molecule. Then compounds. Compounds, say for example, water is a compound and carbon dioxide is also another compound. Say in which two or more different elements are joined together. In the case of water, the two elements are the hydrogen and oxygen. In the case of carbon dioxide, it is a carbon and oxygen. Okay. Then what are the macromolecules? So macromolecules are the polymers of long chains. They are basically made up of the building blocks called the monomers. Say for example, protein is an example for a macromolecule. It is made up of amino acids like that. So these are all the basic points that we have to know. It is not only for botany, but it is in general. Whenever we study about the organic compounds, we have to know those organic compounds are basically made up of inorganic elements. Okay. And then now we come to the main topic, that is the plants. So plants, we know very well, they are always drag our attention due to their greenery nature as well as their colorful flowers. However, when we say plants, it may be the basic structure of any plant, whether it is a unicellular or multicellular, it is basically made up of a cell. So a cell, we know very well it is a microscopic, smallest unit. Almost they perform all activity of an organism. In case of Chlamydomonas or amoeba or paramecium, we know very well these are all the unicellular organisms because their entire cell is made up of a single cell. However, that single cell does the function of almost the growth and development, absorption of water from the atmosphere, even they involve in reproduction. Then multicellular, say for example, Aceletoria and alga you may be knowing. So it is a multicellular one because their structure is made up of more than one cell. It may be either in the filamentous form like this, or maybe in the form of a colony. Okay. So next, what we are going to see is about the organelle. So if you once you know about a cell, when you enter into a cell, the each and every cell is made up of organelles, or what we can call it as cell inclusions. So the organelles are their association of the macromolecules into various compartments. Say for example, nucleus is one of the organelle, and mitochondria is another organelle, then chloroplast, endoplasmic reticulum, vacuoles, like that. So they all together form a cell. So each and every organelle play an important role in the construction of a particular cell. So all these structures like nucleus, mitochondria, chloroplast are basically known as what the organelles. So they play an important role in the construction of a particular cell. Okay, then the cells, in the case of the multicellular organism, we know very well the cells are grouped and they form an important structure called the tissue. So it is the association of cells that perform specific functions. Say, for example, epidermis, in the case of leaf or stem, you can see the uppermost layer is there is the epidermis. Then we know very well the xylem and phloem and so on. So each and every tissue has its own specific function. Then the tissues are sometimes grouped into a particular structure called organ. In the case of the plants, there is no organ like that of in the animals. However, the tissues are grouped into various functional units, okay, that also perform a specific roles. Say, for example, leaves, stem, root. When we say leaves, leaves have many tissues, like epidermis is one type of tissue, xylem is another type of tissue, phloem is another type of tissue. But when we comprise all these, then we can consider as what an organ. Now it acts as an organ. So like that, the stem is also another organ, and the root is also considered as another organ in the case of the plants. Then what is an organism? So organism is a distinct living entities. So plants is one type of organism, animals and microorganisms like that. So organisms are the total entity of a particular living structure. Then for our basic understanding, we can divide the organisms into two types based on the nature of the nucleus, which is very important in controlling the genetic makeup of a particular living organism. So we can divide into prokaryotes and eukaryotes. So prokaryotes, pro means primitive, karyotes, that is from a word called karyon, Karyon, karyon. Karyon means nucleus. So the organisms with the primitive nucleus, that is the nucleus which are not well developed, but it has only the DNA fibrils. Okay, otherwise what we call it as nucleoid. Say, for example, a bacteria, we can call it as the best example for the prokaryotes. Then eukaryotes. So EU means true. So true nucleus, that is a well-developed nucleus. A nucleus with the nuclear membrane, then nucleoplasm, then nucleolus. So when we see a structure like this, that is a nucleolus, nucleoplasm, nuclear membrane, inside that the chromosomes and the DNA like that, that is known as a well-developed nucleus. So the organisms which are having this type of nucleus are known as eukaryotes. Say, for example, fungi, plants, and the animals are some of the examples for the eukaryotes. Next, what we are going to see is about the nutrition. So, what are the various mode of nutrition? So, any organism to survive, they need food, and we know very well there are some plants, basically almost all plants, they synthesize their own food because they are having the chlorophyll. So those organisms are basically known as what? Autotrophic. Auto means self. So tropism here means it is not a movement, but it is what we call it as the mode of nutrition, how they get their food, whether they prepare their own food or they depend on some other organisms for their food. If they prepare their own food, then those organisms are known as what? Autotrophic. And there is another group called heterotrophic. So hetero means a different mode of nutrition they are having. So they depend on either on a living organisms or dead organic matter. Say, for example, fungi. So fungi is one of the best examples for the heterotrophic mode of nutrition. So even within the heterotrophic, we can have other types like symbiotic association, then parasitic association, then mycorrhizal association. So these are all the other modes of nutrition by which a particular organism can derive its nutrients from their environment. So all these, whatever that we are discussing now is about the entire complex structure of a plant. It's not a single plant, but is in total. We are talking about what? Generally, we are talking about what? Botany or phytology. Okay. So next to the mode of nutrition, I wish to talk about the whether the flowers are present in a plant or not. So based on that, we can divide the various groups of plants into flowering plants and non-flowering plants. So only one group are known as the flowering, that is the angiosperms. Angiosperm, that we know very well. Angio means box and sperma means seed. So in case of the angiosperm, the seeds are present inside the fruits. So those plants are known as what? Basically angiosperms. Then non-flowering plants, so plants without flower, say algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, and gymnosperms. In those plants, we cannot see the flowers. So those are basically known as what? Non-flowering plants. However, they reproduce with the help of the other structures in their body. Okay, then we can divide the plants into various groups based on whether the seeds are present or not. So we can divide into non-spermatophytes and spermatophytes. So non means what? Nil, or we can say absent. Sperma means a seed. So plants without seeds, say algae, bryophytes, and the pteridophytes are basically come under non-spermatophytes. Then spermatophytes are otherwise known as what? Phanerogams. Phaneros means evident. Gamos means marriage or union or fusion. So their reproductive structures are evident. Okay, so that is what we call it as phanerogams. So the plants which are having seeds are known as what? Spermatophytes. So best examples are the gymnosperms and the angiosperms. But we know very well that gymnosperms are naked seed plants because the ovary is absent in the case of gymnosperms. But in the angiosperms, ovary is present. Inside that, only the ovules are present. So the ovules will become into seed, and the ovary will become into fruit after sexual reproduction. In addition to this, we can divide the plants into vascular plants and non-vascular plants. This is a non-vascular. That means what? The absence of the vascular traces, that is a xylem and the phloem. Both are the conducting elements. Xylem, we know very well, they conduct the water and minerals from the soil to various parts of the plant. And phloem, they translocate the synthesized solutes from the leaf to various parts of the plant. And algae and bryophytes are basically examples for the non-vascular plants. Then when we talk about vascular plant, they have both xylem and the phloem. So pteridophytes, they are known as the lower vascular plants, and gymnosperms and angiosperms are considered as higher vascular plants. Apart from this, we can divide the plants into various groups based on their presence of sex organs. So when we talk about sex organs, we know very well there is a male sex organ and a female sex organ. So in a particular plant, if the both male and female sex organs are present in the same plant, then we can call it those plants as monoecious. Mono means yes, single, so monoecious, or otherwise that thallus or the plant body is known as a homothallic. Then dioecious means there is a separate male plant and a female plant. That is, in the male plant, we can see only the male reproductive structure, and in the female plant, we can see only the female reproductive structure. In that case, the plant body or the thallus is known as what? Heterothallic. We can see the heterothallic natures are mostly in the case of algae as well as in bryophytes. We can come across this type of dioecious plants nature. And all other examples are quoted in this picture. Then, based on their mode of reproduction, whether it is a vegetative reproduction, if it is so, then a new plant may be formed from a piece or a fragment of a particular plant. In the case of algae, we can see the fragmentation in which a small piece of a plant is detached, then that particular piece will develop into a new plant. That is in the case of the lower group of plants. And even in higher plants also, by the uh, plant introduction by another method, we can have this type of vegetative reproduction also. Then asexual reproduction, so it is without the sex gametes. So there is no male and female gametes, but it is mostly by the spores. So the spores are the asexual reproductive units. Normally, spores are considered as the asexual reproductive units. In addition to this, the fission process, the budding process, which are happening in the case of yeast cells, are also known as, to some extent, under the asexual reproduction. Then the sexual reproduction, which is the fusion of the male and the female gametes, in which there are basically two types. One is isogamy, in which the fusion of same-sized male and female gametes. So this we can see mostly in the lower group of plants. Then heterogamy, in which the fusion of dissimilar gametes. And in the heterogamy, again there are two types. One is anisogamy, another one is the oogamy. In the case of anisogamy, the male and female gametes both are dissimilar in their structure. But in the case of oogamy, which is considered as the advanced type of sexual reproduction, in which a large immobile or immotile female gamete is fused by the motile male gamete. So the male gamete can easily move from one place to another place, and they can easily fuse with the female gamete. So that type of sexual reproduction is considered as the advanced type of sexual reproduction. But during the sexual reproduction, the fusion product is always going to be the zygote. Then the zygote will develop into embryo, then embryo will develop into the mature plant. So except in algae, in all other group of plants like bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms, and angiosperm, embryo formation is present. Only in algae, the embryo formation is absent. So these are all some of the basic points that I wish to talk with you regarding a basic introduction about botany. It is only a basic introduction, so in which we are not discussing about the internal processes as well as other some important structures. But just I want to introduce what are the points which we have to know regarding when we talk about or when we want to study about botany. So when we say botany, it is, as already I told you, it is the study of the structure, the origin, as well as the diversity, the classification, their mode of nutrition, their reproduction, and including the internal process of the plants. Okay, so I hope that this class uh, gave you some basic knowledge about botany.